Hey, phony homies, it's week 5. On this episode, we discussed this past week's studs, duds, injuries, who to start, who not to start, waiver wire, and so much more. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fake Football Guys Show. I'm your host, Giancarlo Campos, and alongside me is the one, the only, Dustin DL Lingelman. What's up, baby? What's going on?
What's up, my guy? I made it.
We both did. I went to the Bears game this past week, and I made it out alive. So there's that.
Definitely. Sorry, I'm reading the chats. They're going off already. So Brian thinks you're a stud, Banana J.
Oh, hey, I'll take that.
And I'm a dud.
Oh,
whatever, Brian.
Hey.
Whatever, bro.
Week to week, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Sure.
The NFL continues to be crazy, and we have another jam-packed show.
Always.
Before we do that, let's pay some bills, DL. Let's remind the people at home where, if they want to follow us on Twitter, where they can do that. DL.
At tweet FFG.
Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, DL. And if they want to use any hashtags to get trending, to ask us questions, we're always looking at these hashtags, always looking to see what questions people have. What is the hashtag?
Ask us FFG.
Pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. DL, there also is an email that we have if people want to go that route. What's the email?
Pretty simple as well with our hashtag. Who would have thought we did that on purpose? Ask us ffg@gmail.com.
That's right. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Flying through this deal because we have a huge show. I'm very, very excited. And I see we got a lot of people tuning in already. We got them on a bunch of different platforms. Let's get to that deal. If people want to listen to us, if people want to call, want to ask us questions on the phone live, we might even take a phone call today. I don't know. It could happen.
I hope so.
The phone number.
Nice. Oh, that's easy. You can call JC anytime, as I've always mentioned, at 708-655-4508. Yes, you're wearing
a mark.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it. Why I'm wearing it today. Talk about it. Anyway, DL, lastly, please remember, phony homies, like, share, subscribe, and
smash
that notification button. That way you know when we go live. I can see a bunch of people jumping in already. They see that we're live. They're getting that noti. I love it. My mom's tuning in right now. She just texted me a message and she goes, "You look cute, mijo, and Dustin too." Don't get any
ideas. Thank you.
Don't get any ideas.
JC.
Anyway,
appreciate it.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
That's right. Except for Google Pod, because they're done.
Yeah, they died.
I've talked about it before, but I don't think anyone was using it. Anyways, man, should we get into it? How was your week?
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. My cousin came from Mexico, and we went to a Cubs game, and we went to a Bears game in the same weekend. So 2 dubs, both teams, exciting. Wow. But that's not why you're here, DL. That's not why you're here. How about you, DL?
It was a good weekend, man. I was really excited. Obviously, the Bears one was huge, made me feel good. And then I looked at my actual fantasy football roster, and I was basically 3 out of 4, right? So in 4 leagues, won 3 of them. But my main league, this always happens to me every year. That's the one that I all of a sudden start struggling with it. Maybe it's because it's only 10 people, but did not win. But overall, my studs this week would be on my team would be Alvin Kamara. He was actually playing injured, dude. He played through a hip pointer and he had something going on with his ankles. But nonetheless, he rushed for 19 yards, he rushed 19 times for 77 yards and got that tutty. So thank you, Alvin Kamara. Other guy, running back, James Conner, who rushed for 18 times, 104 yards and a touchdown. So kind of low. My receivers really weren't doing that great. T's and P's for Rashid Rice. I'm sure the doc's got to have something to say about him. But
dude,
the dud.
He's interesting.
The dud for the last 2 weeks on my team, which I really think cost me 2 wins, honestly, was Mark freaking Andrews. What
Let's talk about it.
in the hell is going on? It doesn't make sense. It makes zero fucking sense. Like the first game, I was like, well, he's getting back in rhythm. Say likely. Everyone freaked out. I was like, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to be that guy. Second week, okay, here we go. I mean, not amazing, but it's second week. He got 50 yards. Wasn't too bad. Then he rolled a donut last week, and I was like, that sucks. But he's got to bounce back week 4. Nope. Whole lot of nope. He's gotten 2 targets. 2 in the last couple of weeks. What is going on? I don't get it. Like, are they just done with him? Is this swan song? I'm not sure. So
it's interesting. Dude, I don't think he fell off this hard. I just don't think it's possible for him to fall off this hard. There's my boy Mark. Let's be real, DL. Let's be real. The guy's got a lot of football still left in him. Again, I don't think he's like this bad. Definitely see. I don't think he's going to have a top 2, top 3 tight end season like we're accustomed to seeing from Mark Andrews. But I also don't think he'll be, he'll fall out of the top 10 either. Is this a guy you would try to trade for, DL? Where are you at on him? Are you trying to sell, or are you going to try to buy on the stock?
I don't know, man, because honestly, if you're trading for him, what are you willing to give up, right? Because you don't want to. You're obviously going to go low, right? I can't imagine you be
I'll give you a guy. Yeah, Kyle Pitts. If anyone takes Kyle Pitts for me, that would be
for
beautiful.
Mark Andrews. See, even then, I don't think I would take that. I'd be like, no, I'm okay, right? Because they're about even. At this point, honestly, it's one of those wait and sees. You just have to bench him because you can't really trade him at this point. He's had 2 weeks where he's put up a goose egg. 2 weeks. You can't. No one's going to take that. I'm sorry. No one's going to be like, oh, fuck yeah, give me Mark Andrews. Hopefully he's back this week. Not going to happen. Harbaugh came out and said, yeah, we're a team sport, and yeah, he's going to have some really big games, and Bob. But my whole thing is what the fuck? You got Derrick Henry. This is another weapon, and he's been erased. It's crazy to me. I mean, Kelsey came back last week, and I think Kelsey's going to be even bigger this week because Rashid Rice is injured, and literally that happened last year, right? If you remember, Kelsey was on top of the world. You probably dropped him at 5 when you could have got him at 4. You're like, yeah, I'm taking it. And then all of a sudden, Rashid Rice started getting better at the position, and they faded Travis. Yeah. So I think that is going to happen this week. But when it comes to Mark Andrews, I'm pushing the panic alarm, man. I have to bench him this week. There's no way I can personally feel confident in rolling him out when he's giving me 2 weeks of nothing, not even target 2. That's it.
Yeah. Just to jump in real quick on that, here's a bunch. Let me give you some names. You tell me if you'd rather have these guys or you'd rather have Mark Andrews rest of season. Okay.
Rest of season. Got it.
Yeah, I'll just give you a bunch of names because the tight end position is pretty bad. Let's be real. The tight end.
Well, in these times,
wasteland. Yeah, dude, we've talked about it. There's not much out there right now. Trey McBride. Who'd you rather have?
Trey.
Yeah.
At this point.
George Kittle.
Who?
George Kittle.
I mean, yeah, Kittle. I mean, it's hard to do this because
Yeah. Oh, let's keep going.
Okay.
Sam Laporta, who's also been bad. Who would you rather have?
I'd rather Andrews, but not. I mean, just by a smidge, really.
Yeah. Let me keep giving you more guys. David Njoku. Who would you rather have?
I do like David Njoku, and he came on halfway through the year. All of a sudden, he went from shitty, and that's my argument. Is Andrews could have that. He could pop off at week 8, and all of a sudden he's back. To answer your question, though, man, I'd probably still stick with Andrews.
Okay. Yeah, I think Andrews for me is somebody I'm trying to go get. I think the Andrews manager probably is tired of it. I
mean, yeah, I've gotten some offers. Somebody hit me up right away. It was like, hey, here's Lazard for Andrews. And I was like, no. Smart, though. Smart to get me one. I'm fetal position in the shower crying because this motherfucker cost me 2 weeks. But no, for me, it's a wait and see. Just because for a couple things, I know it doesn't matter anymore, like draft, like where you drafted players, because it's, it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks in. So it really doesn't matter. However, I do think that, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to see if somebody else gets hot. And like this week, he's grabbing some pine, bro. Like, and that sucks because I thought he was like, all right, here's my tight end. Don't have to worry about him. Hope he stays healthy, but let's get through this. So now I got rostered 2 tight ends, and it sucks. I don't want to do that. So,
yeah, it sucks. It sucks it's happening, but look,
what are you laughing about?
I expect him to return to form, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, some of these comments are awesome.
That's a little bit more entertaining. That's for sure.
There's another guy that's been bad, and a guy that, what? It sucks to say, but I think I'm finally out. I think I'm finally waving the white flag on this guy. You know who that is, DL? Do you know who that is? Pitts. Yeah, that's Kyle fucking Pitts.
Dude,
he has been
you know
bad.
what? Yeah, I told you that from jump, dude. I told you even before you drafted.
Everybody told me.
Yeah, like
literally.
You like listen, I got burnt too. I got burnt bad last year, and I was like, he's one of those on my list where I'm just like, yeah, nah, dude.
Like this picture though, this should be him on the sidelines, dog. I swear to God, looking
like
man. Not in the game.
You know what's crazy about it is that like with Kyle Pitts, dude, like he got his quarterback, he got a new offensive coordinator. Like I get why you were like, all right, like everyone's down on him. Perfect, I'll snag him.
It was gonna happen. It was this time. It was if it was ever gonna happen. If Kyle Pitts is ever gonna catch on, it was now. And it's not happening, so I'm trying to move on from him. I'm seeing what I can get. I will take 60 cents on the dollar for him, honestly.
I had a trade offer. Offer. We're week 5, right? So we have some people on bye weeks, right? One of them being the Eagles, and I have Jalen Hurts, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, I took your advice, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to stream a quarterback. And I was thinking of like, all right, I got to drop one of my wide receivers. Like, should it be D-Hop or no, I don't want to draft him. And then I got, wow, I'm sorry, guys. I actually got an offer, and it was for Brock Purdy for Bucking Irving. Now to set the table, I'm deep with running backs. I got so many running backs that I can't get them into my lineup. So I took the trade, and I got Brock. Yeah, I got Brock, dude, which is great because he's like top 5 quarterbacks, and I'm really hurt. And I was like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger because I'm never going to start Bucking Irving unless something drastic happens.
Yeah.
But
this is a very a deep league. Let's say it's a 10-man league. There's a lot of good talent out there.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, Yeah. But I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll keep Brock because, I mean, I thought about Justin Fields. I thought about even Geno. I was like,
had a great game. Justin had a great game.
But there's other positions, and we have some of our league watching, so I don't want to give it away. But there's other positions where I'm like, dude, if I get this waiver, like I'd rather get him than like rolling the dice and getting like Justin Fields and being like,
and there are a bunch of names that we want to talk about. We'll get to that a little later in the show, right. DL. A few things. DL, let me pose a question to you. It's a very interesting one, I think. We're going into week 5. We've played 4 games so far. What do you do if you're 0-4?
At this point, like I wouldn't really panic too much, right? But I would take a very hard look. Kind of like what we're talking about. Like you drafted a guy, he's just not producing. It's been like 4 weeks, and you're just not getting anything out of him. And you're like, when's it going to happen? At this point, you don't really have that luxury of like, well, I'm just going to roll him out and see what happens. I would definitely target. I would definitely shake it up a little bit and try to get, the best option out there, whether it be a running back or a wide receiver. The biggest thing that you also want to take a look at, and I've mentioned this in previous seasons, but like the targets, right? If you got a guy who's not really putting up the points, but he's getting like 8 to 10 targets, that's somebody that you may want to keep. But if you got like a well-named like Devontae Adams and he's not getting that, like that might be somewhere where you may want to flip him out of your lineup. I wouldn't say drop him, but flip him out and see if there's somebody else you can roll, because at this point you got nothing to lose. You're 0-4. 0-3 is a little bit different. I think you're still in the mix, right? I mean, I started off my league being number 1, then dropped down to 3. Now I'm at 5, and that happened in like 3 weeks. So we're still changing, and anything can happen. As you can see, I mean, injuries are going around galore, and some really big names are dropping. I'm like, son of a bitch,
dude, it's insane right now.
And that's the fun thing. And I said this in a previous episode too. The team that you drafted is not going to be the team that you end up with. You're just not. Like, you want to draft it and like have those pieces, but it's not like you draft a team and you get all the way to the championship. There's going to be some flexing. There's going to be some trends. There's going to be some guys that start taking over. So I don't know. What would you do?
If I was 0-4, look, I've seen teams, believe it or not, come back and win the championship from an 0-4 start. It has happened. It's happened in one of my home leagues. One of my buddies won it 2 years ago. Cohen, if you're watching, that was you. So here's what I would do. I would sell out. I would do whatever I can to try to field the best possible lineup moving forward every single week. If your team has a lot of depth, I would package 2 guys and try to get a better guy, just because you can't start all these guys. And you got to do something to set the best lineup. If your team is not deep, and let's say your team is made up of a bunch of guys, and you don't, or I'm sorry, let's say your team isn't deep and you have like 2 studs and then nothing, and you don't know what to do, I think I would sell. I would begin selling. I think I would try to move some of these big names and try to, cash in on the name value if you can. And a guy like Breece Hall, if you can. Maybe you have Christian McCaffrey, and that's why you're losing, because he's just sitting on your bench. Maybe you have Cooper Kupp, and he's out there. You don't know what to do because you're not going to get him this week, and the next week he's on a bye, so you can't live with that. I would reach out to the teams who are 4-0 or 3-1 and see if you could trade some of these injured guys, or see if you could trade some of these studs you have to different teams and see if you can get some players that are performing right now. There's a bunch of them out there, a bunch of guys that you could probably get. We'll get into some of those names in a bit, but the season isn't over for you. Not yet if you're 0-4, but it's the Reaper is knocking on the door, and it's almost over. If you go 0-5, it's really hard to get out of that hole. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you want to start taking a look at like what's available out there, but absolutely, like if your big name guys aren't doing what that you want them to do, start shopping them. there's don't, like you always say, don't fall in love with your guys. Mm-hmm. Like there's no sense just because you're a huge Bears fan that, like, I mean, I'm a huge Bears fan, right? I benched Swift last week, which was stupid. Yeah. I mean, not dumb at the time, but he went off, and that's fantasy, because it's like, do I really roll him out again so he gets me like 3 points, or do I go with a hot hand like Carson Steele, play him, and he fumbles? But I was smart and got Kareem Hunt. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, it's a dice roll, but you got to do something you're absolutely right, because what you're doing, your team isn't producing.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to trade. Don't be afraid to trade.
We got a question from Marcos. Yeah. Jaden Reed, how do you guys value him? 2 big games, 2 bad games. Target share really isn't there.
Interesting question, and I know why he's posing it. I have Jaden Reed in the league with him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
He's definitely an enigma right now. Definitely a lot of questions on him. Let's talk about his production. It's only been 4 weeks.
Yeah, one second. I got
it. I have it up.
Oh, you have it up?
Yeah, I saw the question come in. So
you know what? Look at us.
I can share screen. It's no worries. 1 second.
I have it. I was gonna share it. I already have it up.
Yeah, same here. There you go.
I don't see it. We're waiting.
So let's talk about Jaden Reed's production, and also we got to keep in mind a few things when it comes to Jaden Reed. Okay. Here's his numbers. Here's what he's done so far in 4 weeks. In week 1, they lost, fortunately for Bears fans, us. But Reed had 4 receptions on 6 targets. Not a whole lot of targets, but he had 138 yards. Okay. He had a touchdown. He had a 70-yard bomb. And they also use him in, running packages and end arounds and trick plays. Kind of plays like a Deebo Samuel kind of role, even though he's a little smaller of a guy. They use him in a lot of different ways. It's interesting. But this week they had Jordan Love in week 1. Week 2, Love goes down. He's hurt. And obviously, there's no production. It's a lot harder to do when you got Malik Willis coming off the bench. Week 3, somehow, some way, Malik Willis leads him to a W. And, he has a okay game, 50 yards on 6 targets, nothing crazy. But, those are 2 games with a backup quarterback. Then finally they get Love back in week 4. And what happens? He gets
production
8 targets.
Goes up.
139 yards, another touchdown. And there were some plays left out there on the field. He could have had even a bigger day. It's interesting. There's another name on that team because Christian Watson went down. Okay. Another name on that team, DL, that's interesting. Dontavian Wicks. And we'll get to him and we go into a little deeper.
But
13 targets.
Before you move on, hold on one second. Hold on. Looking over at his production, right? If I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh man, he screwed the pooch week 2, week 3, kind of bounced back. Holy shit, week 4 he came back. And you're absolutely right. Who was throwing him the ball, right? Green Bay actually got an actual. They had to get a quarterback and they had to adjust to him on the fly and put together an actual play for him that played to his best ability. So, and what is that? Malik Willis, he's going to run the freaking ball, right? So overall, if I'm looking at these 4 games, it gives you a good sample size. This guy is solid, bro. And I see a lot more boom than bust. I mean, first game, 34 points. I mean, depending on if it's what you have standard versus PPR, but he's been pretty consistent. He had 1 bad game. No player is going to have just lights out.
Yeah, every game.
30 points, 20 points. I mean, you have some that are consistent, but every once in a while they're going to dip to 15, 11. So I'm cool with him. I would be happy. I would throw him. I would put him in. Where are you playing him? Are you playing him as a wide receiver 1 or more of a flex option? Or
right now, I think he's absolutely, no doubt about it, wide receiver 2. No question. No question. With upside, though. If he has another game or 2 of this monster game, then you got to talk about him being a wide receiver 1, a legit wide receiver 1 candidate. That doesn't matter too much to me. A 1 or 2, whatever, interchangeable. You're going to start 2 receivers. You're going to start a flex no matter what. But he's in must-start territory right now for me, especially when he has upside of, the potential of going for 130-plus yards, getting a touchdown in those games. And the way they use him, it's just look, I'm not just saying this because, I roster Jayden Reed in a ton of leagues. I'm telling you because I've seen what he can do. He's explosive. He's very, very explosive. The Packers have an embarrassment of riches. They have a bunch of guys they could use, in the wide receiver position. So, and Jayden Reed is one of them. I happen to think that he's the best of the bunch. Look, I definitely think he's super valuable. Let me give you some names just to give you an idea of where I think Jayden Reed stands and who I think the company he's around. I think the rest of the season, I'd rather have Jayden Reed over Devontae Smith. I think I'd rather have him the rest of the season over Garrett Wilson. Call me crazy. I think I'd rather have him rest of the season over Brandon Ayuk. I'd rather have him rest of the season over Devontae Adams. Contingent on where Devontae goes. There is some talk about Devontae being traded. He supposedly, I heard, we've read reports came out and said that he asked for a trade. I'd rather have him over Devontae Adams, unless Devontae goes to the Chiefs. That changes everything for him. I'd rather have him over Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper. There's a bunch of names out there I'd rather have Jayden Reed over. Some guys that I wouldn't want over him, some guys that I'd rather have over Jayden Reed. I'd rather have, Deebo Samuel, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, some of these names, some of these guys, and a bunch of other guys. But look, very, very high on Jayden Reed. I've been high on him going into the season. And I definitely think that maybe he won't have these giant games, but I definitely think he could average 14 points a game, and that puts him in high wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1 territory. DL?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with most of it. T. Higgins is kind of interesting to me. I see his production, but all of a sudden, Jamar Chase is starting to get it up to his value again. So, yeah, I think he's definitely a steal as a rookie wide receiver. Especially if you didn't get Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. He's definitely a steady start, and I absolutely agree. I think he is a wide receiver too, but we still got a lot of show left. So we're going to jump over to the news unless you want to put a bow on anything. But
no, let's go ahead with the news.
Okay, so the biggest thing coming out today, Davante Adams is looking to be traded out of Las Vegas. Now there was a rumor last week about like, oh, some people made business decisions, and they were like, oh, it's Adams. But then you kind of saw, I think it was a cornerback who just was like loafing. So everyone kind of like hushed on it. It wasn't that big of a deal. But he literally asked to be traded. The only problem is that honestly, like, he comes with a pricey tag. So a lot of people were like, oh, Kansas City, but I don't think they can keep him because the cap, man. I think it's 17 mil, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe look that up as I'm talking. But I don't know. Where do you think he's gonna go? I could see his ass going to the Bears. Just kidding.
Nah, that'd be sick. That would have been a cool way to go. No, look, I think he does get traded. The rumor came out that
he's gonna get traded. Definitely, he's gonna get traded. But who?
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends. If the asking price is too high, I could definitely see he doesn't get traded. I could see him not getting moved. Supposedly, the Raiders want a second-round pick. I don't know if they'll get that, but that's what they're saying. They want a second-round pick and other compensation. So probably a second and like a sixth, a second and a fifth. I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna get or what's going to happen. But there's a few teams that are definitely wide receiver hungry, and just a few landing spots. Yeah, I'll throw one out there. We both know it. It's the Chiefs. Imagine what would happen if he went to the Chiefs.
I don't think he goes to the Chiefs because they can't afford him. I literally just said that.
Yeah, but it could happen though. What if they trade a player away? What if they find a way to trade?
Yeah, and he's going to restructure his contract.
Dude, if for 1 year, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting what they could do in the NFL, the way they can restructure money and how they can.
I think it comes down to like how much he likes the team. If he's willing to do that, I think he's a huge talent. I don't know. Maybe the Browns will give up like a whole bunch of shit because that's usually what they do. If he got on Kansas City, let's put that in there. Money aside, like, dude, it's done. They're Super Bowl champs for sure, no question asked. Like, they're gonna make it rain.
Give another team deal. What if he reunites with Aaron Rodgers and goes to the Jets?
I was thinking the Jets. I really was. I'm not gonna lie. Do they have the? I guess the bottom line. Do they have the money? And who would you? Man, could you imagine Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams on a team? Like, that's a fantasy fucking team.
That'd be the number 1-2 punch in the entire league.
Garrett Wilson isn't doing much, but I think that's definitely gonna be he's gonna play. So
yeah, that would change if that happened. That would change.
So another thing that happened that didn't put in the news, but I literally just remembered it. Vaughn has been suspended because
Von Miller. That's right.
Yeah.
Interesting how that happens, Von Miller. And I've seen a lot of talk on Twitter about Von Miller getting his suspension of 4 games while Rashee Rice is able to play.
Yeah.
I think the real reason is because legally Rashee Rice's case is still open and it has not been closed yet. So they're waiting until the legal process, there's due process until that takes its course. And then once that comes down and once that's over, then they'll do the suspension.
Yeah. He was suspended for 4 games for violating personal conduct policy. So, I don't know. I didn't click on to get the details, but that is a blow to, defenses.
Huge. He still got it in his late 30s. Still got it.
Oh, absolutely. So other news, former NFL Rookie of the Year, Eddie Lacy was arrested for extreme DUI. Not just a DUI, but an actual extreme DUI. In Scottsdale, Arizona, cops responded to a report of a possibly impaired driver and observed a vehicle matching the description committing multiple traffic violations, according to Phoenix CBS, affiliate of KPHO. Credit, right?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of sucks. He was he had a couple good years. I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. Other than that,
mugshot. If you want to see his mugshot, they caught him.
You got his muggy.
Yeah,
I got him smiling, so I didn't want to show that because we got kids watching. Don't drink and drive. That's stupid.
Don't. It is stupid. It is stupid. Here's a picture of, unfortunately, Eddie with, the arrest that occurred. It sucks. It sucks. I don't know what someone's going through, so I don't want to crack any jokes on the guy, but it does suck. So
yeah,
the help he needs, and
I don't think he's hurting for money. Like not
No,
hurting as much as to get a fucking
yeah,
Uber, you know?
yeah,
Like get an Uber, bro. Like in this day and age, like I have no tolerance for this because in this day and age, you can get an Uber. You can do
yeah,
like you can. There's so many options for you to like go and like do your thing, man. You want to tie one on, but like be smart. Like don't be stupid.
100%,
Anywho,
100%.
moving
Anyway,
on.
yeah.
So the only other news that kind of came up is that Amari Cooper's not happy with the Cleveland press. Usually he's pretty quiet, but this time he basically said, you know, I wish we could put the cameras on some of you guys when you ask stupid questions. And that's kind of out of character for him, right? Because like typically he's just kind of like, yeah, okay, like short answered. But there's been rumors too that he's being shopped around too. So I don't know, but I digress. So that was the news, and I don't know if you heard anything else or anything exciting.
No. That's really it. You know, I like Amari Cooper. I think he's one of the best front runners in football. I think everybody knows that. If he does get traded, look out because he would definitely make an impact anywhere he goes for sure. I did hear some rumors though, or not even rumors. I did hear that interesting information about DJ Moore. Okay, and I do want to share this with you, DL.
Okay, share away.
So he does a weekly show on The Score with Mully and David Haw, and he that's true for an extreme DUI. He did look good.
All right, I had to throw it in there.
No, it's okay. He did say he shared last week and he shared this week that the Bears used him as a decoy.
Hold on. Okay. Real quick before you get into it. This is actually a good point. So going back to Amari Cooper, and I know you're going, sorry, I don't mean it, but this was just good.
No worries.
Cleveland actually just converted nearly all of Amari Cooper's salary into a signing bonus, making him a great trading piece.
That's how you get a third or fourth round pick. By trading a guy of that value, and it's going to cost them nothing. That's how you get a good round pick like that.
Okay, moving back.
He's he said on the radio last week and this week that he's been used as a decoy. And I don't know if you've seen the video that recently surfaced about him being upset. You can see him.
Yeah, I saw him just like.
Yeah, you can see him look legitimately pouting. Now, I have seen him where he looks like that even when the Bears are winning and he's doing well. I have seen something like that, so it could be taken the wrong way. But when you kind of put two and two together, I don't know how happy he is about how he's being utilized. I don't know if he's happy that, Mully this morning brought up a good point. The average depth, the average distance that he's run for a target is the shortest of his career, and it's less than 10 yards. So, he might be really upset about the way he's being utilized. And we did see that Waldron made changes. So what I say all that to say this, it would not surprise me if we start seeing some big DJ Moore games coming.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I can see why he's frustrated, right? He's dealing with a rookie quarterback who's starting to he's doing better. At the same token, before they drafted him, someone interviewed JSN and was like, hey, what do you think about Shane going to the Bears and blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, good for us, I guess. Which really ties into the whole, JSN wasn't really utilized in that system either. Now, I'm not comparing the two or even saying that JSN is up to that caliber yet. I think he will be eventually. But, I love Keenan Allen, but dude, he's only on and off the field. So your number one wide receiver is DJ Moore, and you got to get him more involved. I mean, if every catch I watch him make, he's not getting hit and still moving forward, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we wanted. We said that so many years. We wanted that guy who could just take the hit and get the yak and be that possession receiver. And I just see oh, we're gonna throw. No offense to Rome, but Rome's knees fucked up. So what? Get it to DJ. He's probably one of the many or top talents on the Bears. There's a reason why they extended him for 4 more years, and it wasn't. And I think that's where he's getting frustrated. It's oh, what the hell am I doing here? Throw me the fucking ball. Stop dumping it off in screens. Stop using me as a decoy. Let's go. Let's fucking air the shit out and let's make it happen. Now, I say all that, but the Bears offense has had a pretty slow start. And that I'm being nice. That's me being nice. Because I mean, this last game was the first time I was like, oh, okay. Oh, we can fucking run the ball. Makes sense. So now they're not going to do that like cover 2 and just wait and just pick Caleb off every 2 seconds because they know they're going to shut down Swift. So got another big game coming up this week. So I'm excited to see him go against Carolina. I really wish Reese was the quarterback, but hey, it's the Red Rifle. So
we'll see. It's going to be a fun game, that game. It really is. Really is.
Yeah.
Who you got?
What do you mean?
Who do you got?
Who do I got? Oh, in the game? Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, always the Bears. I mean, come on. What? I pick the Bears every week. And like we have like my mother-in-law does this whole like, pick the the pick'ems, right? So it doesn't matter. I always pick the Bears, even when I know they're gonna get their ass kicked. I still like, fuck you, let's go. So yeah. I mean, what? Hold on, I gotta take this call. I think it's our special friend.
Oh,
if you know what I mean.
Interesting.
Give me a second. Give me a second. What I'm gonna do as soon as he sits down, I'm gonna hit the play. So, just so you know, so you're not like injuries.
You son of a gun! I swear to God. So DL is going to get ready and take us to injuries. Fucking DL, you bastard. This is going great. He always does this to me. He just lets me hang to dry here. Let's go to injuries. You son of a bitch, DL. And now it's time to go over what has happened this past week in the NFL. There were a lot of big fantasy football impact injuries. And we're going to kick it over to the Doc, who looks a little disheveled. What's going on, Doc?
It's been a busy night. A lot of injuries. Just it's been crazy, man. It's only Tuesday. I'm tired. Sick of answering questions. Sick of talking to coaches. But made it a point to come here, talk to you guys about some of the injuries. It's been a long night. Anyways, to start it off, unless you were living on a rock, wide receiver Rashid Rice banged up his knee. Now, everyone has been saying that it's season ending. However, the MRI has not really concluded that yet. So your mother's watching. So yeah, so he suffered a torn ACL, but upon further tests, Rice was feared to suffer a torn ACL, but upon further tests, there's still uncertainty over the exact nature of his injury, per ESPN and the doc. So there's hope. So maybe don't drop him, right? Or maybe you trade for him. I don't know. I'm not the expert there. Coming up with the Colts, we had Anthony Richard with a hit. Richard is considered day-to-day with an oblique and abdominal strain and could play this week against the Jags.
You don't like Anthony Richardson, do you? You always get his name wrong.
Yeah, sure. Richardson was ruled out after injuring his hip the first quarter of Sunday's game against the Steelers. Feeling a little bit sore, Richardson said after the game, but great execution by everybody on the field. I think I'm going to be good, just a little sore. So on Monday, Shane Steichen said, thank you. It wasn't a huge injury. We'll see how the week progresses. So my diagnosis, I think he will play, but I would be kind of cautious to start him because I think he's going to injure himself again. He's very injury prone. Last year, he messed up his shoulder, and the guy just he thinks he's bigger than he is. I mean, he's just running through linebackers, and they're getting the best of him. Also for the Colts, Jonathan Taylor hurt his ankle. Jonathan Taylor has really been dealing with ankle issues for most of his career, right? Every time he tries to come back, he re-injures it, or he's just out for a very long time. But this is a mid-high ankle sprain. Taylor injured his ankle in the fourth quarter. He stated, "I'm feeling pretty good," Taylor said after the game. "We came out with a win, so I'm excited to attack this week because this is going to be another tough one." And I think it's going to be another tough one for any Jonathan Taylor managers. I would be a little cautious.
Your boy's back. Your old drinking buddy from college, Joe Flacco, is back.
Yeah?
How do you feel about that? How do you feel?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think he's great. I don't understand why more people didn't. I don't even understand why the Browns let him go. Honestly, he was tearing it up, just like me on prom night. It was great. So,
what? You had fun when you guys went to school?
I didn't go to the University of Delaware.
Where'd
I went
you go?
To Punta Cana Medical.
Punta Cana. The point that sings, not Punta Cana. Yeah. All right, interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, getting back into it. Packers wide receiver Christian Watson hurt his ankle and will be out at least a week or so, according to Coach Matt LaFleur. After suffering a high ankle sprain, the NFL media, however, reports that Watson is expected to miss multiple weeks. So, Jalen Reed that you mentioned, maybe there's some guy on the waiver wires that you may want to focus, but this dude is gone for a minute.
How bad was that injury, Doc?
Let's see. Let's take a look since you shared it. He's crying. He's a wiener, so it's pretty bad. But honestly, it's literally just a high ankle sprain. He'll be back. I don't think it's season ending, but I can understand the frustration. I really can. It's kind of like when you're trying to do an injury report and you're just getting texts and notifications that things are being shared. So moving on, we have Saints. The Saints running back or tight end, I never know. Taysom Hill dealing with the abdominals, man. Hill went to the Saints injury tent after clutching his chest. Don't worry, folks. It wasn't a heart attack. He just had a poop. He was then later ruled out because he injured his abdominal. So you gotta eat your fruits, your vegetables. Yeah, here he is on the ground. Glad we're showing this. Yep. Had to go poop. Last but not hold on. There's still more. Cowboys. Now this was kind of crazy, right? Normally we talk about like offense and things of that nature. This is on the defensive side. A linebacker, Micah Parsons, hurt his ankle. The edge rusher is unlikely to play this week, according to head coach Mike McCarthy. The head coach confirmed it was a sprained ankle, but didn't say how severe the injury was. But he was in a walking boot, so he's going to be out for a while. Long time. Not too long, but long enough. Also, his buddy, DeMarcus Lawrence, hurt his foot. The Cowboys actually placed Lawrence on the injury reserve with a foot injury, meaning he will miss a minimum of 4 weeks. The edge rusher reported his Lafrancis injury was spotted in walking boot on Monday.
Which one? Liz Frank, Doc.
Yeah, okay. That's what I said.
Sorry. I know you had that.
Long story short, if you have, this is kind of a huge blow. Like the Cowboys are kind of hurting at defensive edges. So they're not as stout as they once were. Hate the Cowboys. Falcons running back, Bijan Robinson, got a hammy, dude. Robinson was estimated as a limited participant with a hamstring injury in Monday's report. Falcons play on Thursday. Not good. Because you got to speed that up. I'd be cautious. I would watch the reports coming out. They may want to have them just take the night off.
Who's the backup there? Do you know, Doc?
For the Falcons, Algier.
That's interesting. I know you're friends with his mom, but he might get some tick. I don't know. I know. I was supposed to tell people that.
I told you that in private. I don't know why you're just.
Sorry.
Are you trying to make me look silly? Is that your
All right.
goal? Because you got butt hurt? Is that what it is? It's okay, buddy. It's all right. So moving on, we got the Titans QB Will Levis hurt his shoulder. Levis exited Monday's game, leaving Mason Rudolph to lead the offense. Coach Brian Callahan said Levis' shoulder was bothering him pretty significantly. It was. If you saw him on the sidelines, dude was crying. Yeah, either crying or he's just hopped up on coke. He was just like nutty. So hopefully he gets over it, because it happens, and he's been kind of sucking lately. So they're probably like, well, what's just wrong with Rudolph? It's okay. Just let your shoulder heal. Lastly, just some updates just an update on running back Christian McCaffrey with Achilles. Came out today that Christian McCaffrey actually, or I should say, Coach Shanahan confirmed that McCaffrey has bilateral Achilles tendonitis, meaning
what is that?
The tissue in both of his legs. So it's not just one leg, it's both legs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, don't get caught with that. Stay away from him. I hope it's not contagious. The team said they will have a better idea of CMC's status over the next few weeks. But that is a bummer, folks. That is not fun. That is horrible, especially if you drafted him.
We have a question pertaining to Christian McCaffrey. It came in just a moment ago on YouTube.
Oh,
it looks like there's a question about what to do if you have CMC.
I would trade him.
It should be there from Mark Baez. If you could share that one, it would be.
It's not on the chat because it's just YouTube. So if it was me,
it's right here in the chat, literally in our chat. It's right here.
Where?
Second question.
Oh. Let's see. Now is the perfect. Oh, is now the perfect time to trade? You said okay. Anyways, trade for CMC if you're. Yeah, I would. I mean, if you can. The only thing is, I would buy low because let's not forget the years before. Right, Christian McCaffrey on the Carolina Panthers was dealing. Now, obviously, it wasn't his Achilles; it was like a knee injury, or he had a hammy and he came back and then he was injured again. That's what scared. I think that's what basically scared a lot of people off from him in general, is that he's just injury prone. However, I definitely would try to trade for him, especially if you have Mason. I think that he is going to be definitely solid. And when Christian comes back, they're going to play him. It's not like, oh, we're just going to let you rest for the rest of the season. He's going to play, and to have him be awesome. What do you think, JC?
Thanks for asking me, Doc. I thought you would never ask me. I think I would try to buy low on him. But honestly, I'm completely scared about CMC. But if you're the Mason GM and you have him on your roster, I think you're probably the only guy it makes sense to go get him. There's a chance that McCaffrey doesn't play at all the rest of the season. There's a chance that they, shut him down and just use him in like actual real NFL football, like near the end of this regular season to get him warmed up for playoffs. I don't know. I don't know if I would go get McCaffrey, to be honest. If I'm the Mason GM, it's probably the only guy. As far as like what he's worth, to be honest, it's tough to really say. I think for McCaffrey, you could probably give up like Devin Singletary, see if the guy bites. You give up a guy like Jonathan Brooks, see if the McCaffrey owner goes. I don't know. Zach Moss. They're not sexy names, but McCaffrey's just sitting there. Like, he's not going to play. Like,
yeah, at least that's a tough one, because I think you would honestly, to get that manager like actually thinking about it, you'd have to give up somewhat of a bigger piece, right? Like, unless it depends on the team. Like, if they're 0-4 and they're really hurting and they have CMC and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to wait this out, you might be able to pull off a little bit of a mid-tier kind of guy. So when I say mid-tier, I'm thinking like James Conner. Not a bad one. Maybe pair him up with, a tight end that's actually doing well. I don't know. or even like I'm trying to think of like T. Higgins and James Conner. Not a bad trade. Would you take that if you had CMC?
To get CMC, you both give up T. Higgins and James Conner to get
Yeah.
hell no. If I have, that's way too much of an overpay. I think CMC is not worth too much right now. I think you wait if you're the CMC guy until he gets closer to returning. I don't think you'll get more than like 50 cents on the dollar, to be honest with you. I think you could try to trade DeAndre Swift right now for Christian McCaffrey. I think you could trade like Tony Pollard for him. I think you could trade like Ramondre Stevenson for him. I think you could trade Najee Harris for him. I think you could trade guys like that. I just don't. You're not getting anything out of them, and especially if the guy who has them is 0-4. You could probably get him for next to nothing, which is crazy. But
maybe
again,
I still think a lot of times what people do is they hang on to names, right? It's CMC. It's him. Like he's the best running back. You just wait until he comes back and so on and so forth. And they're going to ride or die. So honestly, I think you're going to have, if you really want him, right, you're going to have to give up a little bit more. And you're right. Like T. Higgins and James Conner together, that's a lot. But depends on if you're using those guys, right? If they're just sitting on your bench week after week, maybe you want to trade them. Because, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So to answer your question, Tim, what's he worth? For myself, I would say like mid-tier, like a mid-tier running back and like maybe a wide receiver 2. Maybe you don't have to pair them both. Maybe start it off with just like a straight up
flex guy. I would probably give like a flex guy, low end wide
receiver
2,
that's not a
high end wide receiver 3. I don't know. He looked actually really good.
Dude, I got him. I'm so happy. I felt like the smartest guy in the whole freaking room. So I was like, I told y'all, everybody was down on. I was like, he wants makeup. He wants Andy Reid to love him again.
I think Kareem Hunt's a little bit of a low ball still. If he has one more good week, I think you could do it, and you could pull that off. But
yeah,
hey man, a guy can dream. Honestly, you're not getting anything out of him, and he might not play till the second half of the season.
That's a tricky question.
Week 9, week 10, week 11. Think about that. Can you survive that long?
And it depends too if they have an IR spot. Maybe there's like bucket. I got an IR spot. I'll keep him there.
What if they have Kupp and McCaffrey? What if you have?
And all you got to do is just make it to the playoffs. You make it to the playoffs, and those guys come back. Like, fuck. Now that's another thing to kind of keep in mind too. Like, how is CMC going to look? Like, is he just going to jump right in and be what he once was? I mean, he hasn't played at all this year, and if he comes back week 8, week 10. Is he going to have rust? I think he'll have a little bit of rust. I don't think he's just going to be like, and I think they're going to be a little bit nervous. I think you're going to see a committee in the first couple of weeks.
Let me give you a name that I think would be interesting to try to go get if you have Christian McCaffrey. Travis Etienne has gotten 11 touches the last 3 weeks. A guy that he's not even getting like the red zone touches. They're starting to give Bigsby a few of those because he's bigger guy. I think if you could try to flip him straight up for Travis Etienne, I think I would do that. I'm really high on Jonathan Brooks personally. If you could go get Jonathan Brooks for him, I know it sounds insane.
I don't think someone's going to pull the trigger on that though.
Man, you'd be surprised.
I mean, I think maybe the deep leagues, yes.
What if you're 0-4?
But you want to change that, right? So why are you going to just like, I'm going to try this guy out versus this guy, right? Like I'd want.
That's a depreciating asset. You're just sitting there, wasting away.
Yeah, but people don't look at it that way. They look at it as like, I want to put this guy into my lineup. Like I want to put him in. Because I've had Christian McCaffrey sit on his ass for the last 4 weeks.
He's not playing for you. If you're 0-4 and you have Christian McCaffrey, aren't you freaking out? And you're like, what do I do with him? Aren't you trying to trade him?
I would try to trade him, but I would trade him for somebody who's going to get me something. Not like a Jonathan Brooks that's like, what has he done?
He plays next week. He plays. He's going to play.
He's going to play, but we haven't seen it. There's no data on him. Why would you be like, all right, well, fuck it. Like, I'll just roll it.
I think he's worth the gamble, personally.
What if I was 6 foot? Who cares? like who gives a shit? He might be worth it. Yeah, a lot of people might be worth it. Fuck, we thought Carson Steele was going to be the second coming. He's going to be so good.
No one thought that.
No, there's a lot of people. Lots.
No one thought that.
telling you, I just think that's a stupid gamble personally, just because like there's no data. I want to see a player where it's like, all right, I feel comfortable with like, here you go, you can take the number one over pick that I've had for 4 weeks because I'm getting X player versus like a nobody who may be good, but may not. Then what? Then Christian McCaffrey comes back and blows everything up, and now you're 1-5. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I know.
gamble. Anyways, I want to take this stuff off. I'll be right back.
Thank you so much, Doc, or Dustin. I don't know who that was today, to be honest with you, for that insightful injuries. Guys, we're going to go over waivers here in a moment, and we can't wait to go over it. That's why you're here. Get ready to ask those questions. Get ready to ask what you should do, who you should drop, things like that, how much you should spend if you have fab budgets, because we will answer all of that and more. I do want to remind you guys, there are some bye weeks this week in the NFL. I'm showing that the Philadelphia Eagles, the LA Chargers, and the Detroit Lions, and finally the Tennessee Titans are all on a bye this coming week. So, you might be looking at who to add, and we're going to let you know who to add off of waivers. Right now, when we go over to the waiver segment. I hate you, Dustin, so much because I know you're just hanging me to dry, you bastard. It's time to go over waivers, DL.
Sorry about that. I had to pee. My bad.
Dude, what did you tell me? You gotta tell me that, you scum.
Sorry, dude. My bad. I was gonna put in the chat. I was like, no, I can squeeze it out. And then I just saw the what are you doing?
We're gonna go ahead and get it started. We're gonna jump over to the quarterback position, let you know who to add, what to do.
Okay.
At the quarterback position. DL.
Yes. I'm gonna go with a pick of Sam fucking Darnold. Now I know what you're thinking. Why, Dustin? Why would you go with him? Because he's been awesome, and he's only 45% rostered. I mean, people are waiting for him to regress, and it's not happening. In fact, he's getting bigger and better each and every week. So that would be a guy if you're hurting, especially with this week. Whoopsies, wrong button. Especially if you're hurting this week, this might be the guy that can, kind of get you through like the Jalen Hurts, or what have you. So I think it would be good. He'll face a tough matchup. This is the only thing I don't like is that he's going up against the Jets in London. Now, this could be a revenge game, which I could think would be even better because of the simple fact that like he's going to show the world like, hey, that's what you get for screwing me over. I'm going to whoop your ass. So yeah, I like him this week. I don't really like London games because I feel like it throws, your clock off. Football players or creatures of habit. The next guy that I'm pretty excited about for quarterback would be Geno Smith of the Seahawks. He's currently only being rostered at 30%. It's beginning to look like the first-year Seahawk OC Ryan Grubb is going to let Geno cook like that. He's a fantasy QB 8 through week 4 and has more points, which is pretty crazy, than Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, and CJ Stroud. So I think he's going to be definitely someone that I would, put up. He is going on Monday night, and he's going against the Giants. So I think if you need to, this is your guy, especially if you're on the struggle bus. This is going to be a guy that's really going to help you with your league. I mean, maybe you just stream him or maybe you keep him because, I don't know, he picked up Deshaun Watson or somebody and you thought he was going to be coming back strong. This would be a guy that I would highly target, especially with QBs. Last, but definitely not least, our boy, Justin motherfucking Fields. Love this guy. 21% rostered. Fields is working his way towards a must-start territory. It's very true. He was the fantasy quarterback 1 in week 4. Is it talent or coach? talent or coaching. Anywho, he racked up 31.98 points in the Steelers' loss to the Colts, right? And putting himself in the exclusive club with his performance. Justin became just the 9th quarterback in NFL history to have a game with 300 plus passing yards. My bad. One or more passing TDs, 50 plus rushing yards, and 2 or more rushing TDs. There's more good news. He has a matchup in Week 5 against the Cowboys, who, if you weren't paying attention, Doc mentioned that they're kind of dealing with some injuries on the defense. No Michael Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence. So this might be a definitely great game. In fact, I had him target for this week, but made that trade for Brock Purdy. So moving over to running backs, I'm going to bring him in. JC again. Any thoughts on my guys?
Yeah, no, I think I am a little higher on Justin Fields than you may be.
I think overall, I think he would be the guy to start this week. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I would have Fields over Geno and Darnold. Call me crazy. I know Darnold's had a resurgence, but that's kind of where I would be. Yeah, let's keep going. I saw some breaking news from Ian Rappaport, but it was a few hours ago, so it was not right there. Let's go jump over to running backs. The first guy we have for you guys to add at the running back position is the pride of U of I, Chase Brown. Chase Brown's 46% rostered. We're starting to see Brown take over some of the responsibility at the running back position, and I think he's taking more touches away now from Zach Moss. He went off for 23 points this past week. He went off for 23 points in the first week of the season, and he had 92 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns. It looks like Moss is starting to lose some of the steam that he had built last year when he was playing with a different team, and now it looks like Chase Brown is the guy to get. We're going to jump over to another guy, a guy that we're very, very happy about, a guy that we got some shares of in fantasy when we recommended him on our pre-draft show, Bucky Irving. He's 28% rostered. Now, Bucky Irving starting to take the bulk of the workload away from Rachaad White, which sucks for Rachaad White. Honestly, I think he's a very talented running back, but it's more explosive, a little bit better. I'm gonna bring DL back in on this one. DL, where are you at on this move, this Bucky Irving change?
I've been a huge fan of Bucky Irving for a while. I really have. I think he's a better back than Rachaad White. Yeah, Rachaad White. I had him. I actually traded him because I just got kind of pinned up against it. I think Bucky Irving may overtake it. However, he's a smaller back, right? So he's kind of like an A-chain where he's not going to be able to fly through a line. He may get his clock ring a couple times if they really get a good hit on him. So I feel like the injury is a little bit higher with him. But overall, his production, man, everyone was down on him during the draft, and now they're eating crow because he got a touchdown last week. So overall, I feel like he'd be a solid RB2.
Yeah, RB2. I mean, I can see that. Maybe RB2, flex guy. He's had 11 plus points. Yeah, he's had 11 plus points in the last 2 weeks, while Rachaad White was averaging 7. So you can start to see that change, the changing of the guard there. Another guy we're going to jump over to is Kareem Hunt, DL. He's rostered in 18% of leagues. Now, I don't know how long he's going to have value because Pacheco's coming back at some point in the fantasy season. But I do want to make sure that people are aware that offense is a straight-up mess. They are without Rashee Rice. They have an aging tight end, Travis.
I think he has a bigger game. I think he has a great game this week.
We'll see. They lost Isaiah Pacheco already. They have a bunch of injuries all over the field on that team. And what happens? They go out and get an old friend. They go out and get Kareem Hunt. He looked pretty explosive this past week. Yeah, I'm not sure if you got a chance to see him, but he looked pretty good. This past week, he led all the running backs in snaps with 28. He had 14 rushing attempts for a total of 69 yards. He was averaging almost 5 yards per carry. He was averaging 4.9 yards per carry, and he did run 11 routes. It does look like they're immediately giving him the job until Pacheco comes back. then at that point he may still carry a little bit of value as the second running back. Maybe kind of like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire role.
See,
But
I'm going to just jump in. I'm sorry. I'm kind of shocked that he's only 18% roster because I feel like he's a steal. Isaiah Pacheco is coming back week 8, hopefully. So you can get like some value out of him. But what you just mentioned, Clyde Edwards coming back, I think is going to murk up the backfield because we don't know what he's going to, they may just trot him out there and then all of a sudden, Kareem Hunt is like he was on the Browns, or he's just like that backup, right? Yeah, I'm more high on Hunt. I think Clyde Edwards is going to take some time to get back into it, but take it for what it's worth. This would be like somebody I would, get as much value as I could and then kick him. We did have a question for like deeper leagues. However, deep leagues, would you drop J.K. Dollins for a potential waiver add of Kareem Hunt, Chase Brown, or Devontae Wicks? I'm just gonna say Wicks.
No.
Wow.
For me, I would not. I'd rather have J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I agree. I think J.K. is tried and true. I love him in that offense because Harbaugh loves to run the shit out of the ball. The only thing I would be a little bit concerned of is durability. As we just kind of mentioned, Kareem Hunt, I think, is a run-up player. I think, obviously once Isaiah Pacheco comes back, you're not going to see a whole lot of Kareem Hunt. Chase Brown.
Here's what I'll say. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, Chase Brown, he looks great. Like, he's fast, but I don't think they're moving on from Jerome Ford. Wicks,
Zach Moss.
Oh, my bad. Zach Moss. Wicks, I'm really excited about. I think he's going to come down to earth a little bit in this upcoming game, but he's definitely somebody that, I think is a good wide receiver. So to put a bow on it, I would not. I agree.
Yeah.
I would not.
Yeah, here's what I would say. Dobbins, the devil is better than the devil that you don't. Dobbins is going to have staying value over Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's going to be valuable until Pacheco comes back. Okay, so that knocks Kareem Hunt off. Dobbins, I think, is going to have more value than Chase Brown. Just because Zach Moss isn't going anywhere anytime soon. He's still going to eat at some of those carries. That's just the name of the game. And he's going to get the goal line touches over Chase Brown. So keep that in mind. And J.K. Dobbins is not going to lose goal line touches to Gus Edwards. And then finally with Wicks, I don't think he's the best receiver on that team. I think Jaden Reed is there. And I think once Christian Watson comes back, he's going to eat at some of those snaps as well. So Dontavian Wicks is really a high boom, high bust potential kind of guy. I think he's going to have huge weeks. I think he's going to have bad weeks. That's just kind of where I think he's going to go. But the 13 targets that he did get were encouraging. I'll say that.
I mean, like the way I look at it is like if you're going after any of these guys is because like either A, you're dealing with the fact that there's a couple teams that are on a bye, so you need somebody who's a plug and play. I necessarily wouldn't say that you're going to like get these guys on the waiver and then like keep them for the rest of the year unless like Kareem Hunt blows up or something of that nature. So for the time being, Wicks might be a good to get you over the hump, at least for week 5, I would say.
Interesting. I like that. I like that take.
Thank you.
All right, Theo, we're going to keep going with other guys that we do recommend. We alluded to him earlier, Tank Bigsby, another guy that we recommend. He is only 1% rostered, but Bigsby has been very, very efficient in the season thus far. He broke loose for a 90-yard run on 7 carries in week 4, and he picked up 73 yards on 12 touches in week 1. You can see that he's doing a ton with what he's been given. Unfortunately, his ceiling is capped because he does have Travis Etienne there in front of him, which does take away, but he does definitely look like the more explosive runner right now. Where are you at on Bigsby, DL?
I would say he's like a sneaky stash. That's the way I would put it. Like in deeper leagues, absolutely. But I think overall, like he's just going to be on your bench for a while because you're never going to feel like 100% confident. Like I'm going to start him because Travis Etienne is, like he's not going to play. And depending on the injury, right? He's dealing with a shoulder. So he might be a good start, but like overall, I would sneaky stash and see what happens. I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, if you're desperate, this isn't the guy that you would grab and plug and play.
Agreed. All right, DL, a few things to keep an eye on at the position. JT, Jonathan Taylor, was probably going to miss some time. We did hear that from Doc with that high ankle sprain. Who's the next guy up? Oh, an old friend that we know, a guy that I was high on for a long time, and he did nothing for a long time. Trey Sermon is going to be the next man up. And I don't know what's going to happen. He could definitely get 15 touches and get a total of like 25 yards. I could see that in a touchdown somehow, some way. So just because he's a big bruising back, he'll get a chance. He has had some games in the NFL, though. He's had some mild success. I think it's less than 5 games where he had over 50 yards. So we'll see what happens. Lastly, guy, very interesting name, a guy that we know here in Chicago, Jeremy McNichols. I don't know if you remember. He played for the Bears in 2019. He had a small the Bears. He's been around the league. I think he's a 28-year-old running back, which is old for running backs. Just throwing that out there. Another guy that has, but he looked good. He knows exactly what he's doing. Smart guy.
Deeper league. This might be a guy that you circle. Especially like I'm in a 14-man league, dude. Like I'm not getting any of these guys we just mentioned are already taken. Like they're gone.
Yeah.
So I like this. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just throwing that out there. So he's going to be filling in for Austin Eckler. So McNichols in a pinch could give you 5-6 points. Hey, where else are you going to get that at the running back position right now? It's really, really tough out there. That's for sure. DL, let's jump over to the wide receivers. You got some interesting names.
I do. Hold on, because I want to make sure I'm saying this in the correct order. So, anyways, one Dale Robinson. Now I know what you're thinking. Once again, Dustin, what are you talking about? He's only rostered at 14%, but Malik Neighbors is dealing with a concussion. Wow, the doc didn't catch that one. I think he's drinking too much. But it does look like that Malik Neighbors may actually get through concussion protocol. However, don't let that hurt. Don't let that scare you away. Because in week, so let's see here. He has been targeted 8 or more times in 3 of his 4 games in 2024, including 14 targets just last week. He posted a high of 18.1 fantasy points against the Cowboys last Thursday and has scored at least 9.8 points in every game this season. So I think this is a really good wide receiver too, maybe a flex option. If you want a piece of this game, you never know. If Malik Neighbors doesn't get through it, I think this is the next guy up, to be honest. What do you think?
I agree. I agree with everything you said. I think he's coming up. Let's be real, that offense sucks. And he's just the shiniest turd in the toilet bowl. Nothing against him, but there isn't really anything going on there.
It is pretty shiny.
He'll have 70, 80 yards, and he'll give you 7-8 points in week there. 1 week, and another week he'll give you 2. That's just what to expect the Wandale. The volume's there, though. The volume is there.
It's there, and I mean it's consistent, and that's what you're looking for. I mean, I may target him. Our next guy we got is Xavier Legette. He's rostered at 4%. He plays for the Carolina Panthers. So yeah, in the Panthers' first week without Adam Thielen, old man Thielen, Legette was the receiver who filled the void, mixing 6 grabs for 66 yards and a TD on 10 targets. So we talked about that. 10 targets. That's awesome. He also had 2 carries for 10 yards. A tough customer who thrives consistently and catches. The rookie already seems like he's a likely favorite for Andy Dalton. So let's see. They drew in week 5. They're actually going against the Bears. That would be the only thing that I would be a little like yee about, just because the Bears honestly look legit. Jalen Johnson is the guy. He is him. And that secondary just is like, I wouldn't want to go against them. And obviously I'm a homer, but the Bears defense is looking sharp as shit. So I would be a little bit cautious, but maybe a sneaky stash. If you're really desperate, throw them in your flex. Let's see. I want to make sure. Is this our last? No, it's not. Josh Downs, roster at 2%. This one, I don't know, because like in training camp, they're talking about like, oh, Josh Downs, and Anthony Richardson was talking about how he's going to make sure that he's like the guy, but he's been kind of fluky, and I don't know if that's just because of quarterback play. Yeah, it is. But after missing the first 2 games of the season due to his injuries, Down is getting back, being a player we saw at times during his rookie year in 2023. He led with 8 catches on 9 targets for 82 yards and a TD against one of the league's stingiest defense on Sunday. So take it for what it's worth. I'm not a huge fan of Anthony Richardson. I was when we were like doing the draft, but he's just like, He does stupid shit with the ball. What? Richardson.
I think one moment he looks like the best quarterback.
Second coming? Yeah.
And then the second moment he looks like
trash.
Why the fuck is he even? How did he get here? Why is he even playing?
Kind of like Trubisky? No,
Trubisky.
Not that bad. Not that bad.
Trubisky was like this, and you got Anthony Richardson like this. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But here's what I'll say: if Flacco plays, I love Josh Downs. One thing I know about Joe Flacco, one thing everybody knows is he can throw the deep ball with the best of them. Still, the guy's got a rocket for an arm. And if Josh Downs plays, what does he do? He goes and gets the deep ball. He's also really good at the intermediate routes, really good at crossing routes, really good at, post skinnies. I like Josh Downs. I think he really opens up that offense for them. I'd like him more, though, with Joe
Flacco. Agree. Sorry, I'm just got another question. Waivers go through tonight. That's why we do our show. Yes, absolutely. Is it safe to?
It's not safe.
Okay. Don't. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I can't read that fast. I put Rashid Rice on my IR spot because I'm not dropping him until it's like season ending.
Here's what I would do. In that league, I would drop the kicker if you can, or drop the defense if you can, and let it shake out and see what happens. You're going to get the MRI reports from Rashid Rice probably midweek, and then you could go back and add a defense. You'll be fine. Don't drop these players that you mentioned. Don't drop Jaylen Warren, and then don't drop.
Here, I'll put it back up. Sorry.
Rashid Rice yet. Sorry, don't drop Rashid Rice yet. Let it shake out. Because if you have an IR spot, let him go to the IR. I think they will give him the designation. There has been talk though that if it is not an ACL tear, that he could be back, sometime in the fantasy playoffs potentially.
And he's top 10 wide receivers, if not.
I think
isn't he one? Yeah. Maybe.
He was up there. Look, the best quarterback in the NFL throwing to him. I think he's a top 15 receiver, however you shake it, however you slice it. Maybe at the worst, top 17, top 18. But he had top 10 potential. He was realizing it was happening. So, yeah.
Jaylen Warner, though. Really?
Jaylen Warner was dealing with an injury most of the season, and he's finally healthy. So I think he was just getting back into the swing of things. I think this has been his preseason. I honestly don't like Najee Harris, to be honest. I don't.
When people try to trade me Najee Harris?
Did I think he's like a slow, plodding running back. I just don't think he's any good. When he first came onto the scene, he was explosive. He looked big. Looked like LeGarrette Blount to me. That's what he looked like. And I know you remember LeGarrette Blount. But now he looks like slow. He looks like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't think he looks any good, to be honest. So I would hold. I think Warren by season's end may take that job.
So lastly, in the number one ad for wide receiver, I think we can all agree on, even the people that are watching at home, is Devontae Von Wicks.
Dontavian.
Fuck. All right, so close, guys. So close. I practiced in my head. Didn't work. He's only rostered 2%. That's because no one knew his name until last week. But after seeing 9 targets in his first 3 games, Wick has the intent target on a team high 13 of Jordan Love's throw on Sunday. He turned those 5 grabs into 78 yards and a pair of scores. Woo! Pair of scores. Christian Watson, obviously, we just kind of mentioned, was carted off with an ankle injury. They did lose actually to the Vikings, but Wick was targeted 12 times from that point on. Wick's issues with drops might give some managers a little bit of a pause and understandably, but I think this is a guy you can grab. With Watson out, we already talked about Jalen Reed, so I don't think he's going to be there. This is a piece of it. You get a piece of this offense, right? Who are they going up against? They're going up against the Rams, who just got thrashed. Well, they got beat by the Bears. I won't say thrashed, but they got beat by the Bears. So I think this is, if you can nab him, I would start him and just be like, yeah, buddy. Now, I don't think he's going to go off and get like 2 touchdowns right off the bat and like have this amazing freaking week, but he's going to help you win this week, I would say. JC?
Yeah. Dude, I think he's the number 1 ad in fantasy. I think I'm going to spend probably close to 25% of fab budget if you got it, whatever that number is. The reason why I say that is if you're in a league where you can't make $0 bids, you have to be very conservative how you spend your fab budget. But if you can do $0 bids, then I'd go higher. I'd probably go 30%.
Really, I had a fab. because I'm on
What's
the.
up?
I wish I was in a fab league.
You are. You're in my family league. That's fab.
That is what?
I'm pretty sure it's fab. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure. I could be wrong.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. Anywho, long story short, yeah, waiver it sucks. It sucks. I don't understand. Like, yeah.
One more thing I want to say on Wicks. The guys that you get are never really as good as you think they are, but they're not nearly as bad as you think they are. I think he's a flex guy the rest of the season. But that's startable. And if you can get a flex guy, you fucking go get him. Yeah, I think so. I think that offense throws to everybody. So there's going to be huge weeks for Jaden Reed. It's going to be huge weeks for Wicks. It's going to be huge weeks for Christian Watson when he comes back.
So. All right, we got Trey Tucker rostered 1% for those Las Vegas Raiders. Tucker's averaged 19 points per game over the last 2 weeks. Not bad. That's good. That's like, all right. I'd start him again. He scored a TD in each contest. And I think
I'm sorry. There's a reason why he's on this list.
Adams. Go ahead.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I was getting there. So as long as you just get so excited, it's fun. But as long as Devontae Adams is sidelined with a hamstring, yeah, I think Tucker is going to tie for the team lead with 5 catches against the Browns. Or no, that was last week. He tied for the lead with 5 catches against the Browns and ran for 3 yards. Yeah, I think he's going to be definitely a flex consideration. Yeah, so I think that would be somebody like if you want to be sneaky because everyone's going to go after Wicks and you're low on the waiver wire priority. Exactly. This is the guy that would be like no one's going to really, unless they're super desperate, but I think you have a chance.
Here's what I'll say to go along with that. Sure. Once Devontae Adams gets traded, he goes up. He'll be a flex play every week. So throwing it out there. Brock Bowers will blow up too. Will blow up once Devontae Adams goes.
You know what I was happy about? This is what I was happy about. I actually put in, or I was able to bench their running back. What's his name? I'm dropping his name. Raiders running back. What the fuck's his name?
Samir White?
Yeah, Samir White. Sorry. He's getting there. That's how bad I dislike him. I was so happy to bench him because he's been nothing but trash. So I'm excited about that, and I hope. And I have Bowers. I literally had Bowers with him, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so much Raiders on this team. I can't take it anymore. So I'm excited about that. Sorry, I digress. But moving on to tight ends. Who do you got?
DL is an interesting position. One that there's really nothing. We gave you more last week. If you can go get them, go get this guy from last week. Check out the show last week. You could always go and replay the shows.
Yeah, definitely. I would.
First guy I'm going to go ahead and recommend DL is Cade Otton. DL, Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight end. He's pretty tall, pretty big guy. He's like 6'5", 6'6". I know, man.
This economy, man. And this economy.
Dude, it's ugly. He's 6% rostered. Otton's averaging 3.5 catches for 26 yards per game this season.
Cool.
And that's all I got to say about him. Look, that's really it.
Yeah, I mean, damn, dude. I would look for the next guy. I think I would be more excited about. The next guy I would be excited about. Tucker Kraft.
Look, the reason why the only reason why I mentioned Cade Otton is if you have Sam Laporta, they're on a bye week this week. There's a few teams on a bye week this week, and if you need a bye week fill in, these are the 2 guys we're going to recommend. Tucker Kraft's the next guy. I'm a little higher on him. He is 1% rostered. But, it's interesting because you'd think that the Packers have a better tight end. You'd think that Luke Musgrave is the guy that they
I had him last year.
Higher draft pick, better pedigree, I guess you could say. But Tucker Kraft has been the guy this year so far to roster. Okay, Kraft has more than twice as many routes run. He's got 93 routes run to Luke Musgrave's 41. Huge because opportunity is everything. And he has 17 targets to Musgrave's 7. Okay. So you can definitely tell who's exactly. So you can definitely tell who is the number 1 tight end there. And it is definitely Tucker Kraft. Okay. Jordan Love uses everybody on the field. I could definitely see Tucker Kraft being a nice bye week fill in, but I could definitely see him be a little more than that. I could see him finish just maybe tight end 10, tight end 11. So interesting. Got
to give you your flowers because you mentioned this earlier, but top tier tab.
Yeah, dropping your kicker or DST is a top tier tip. Hey,
so you drop it and then you grab the guy and then you see how it shakes out and then you just grab like a kicker or DST.
Yeah,
Smart. Okay.
That's what I would recommend. Because
'cause
let's be real, the difference between the 15th ranked defense and the 20th ranked defense is negligible. Yeah, maybe there's a big game, but usually the defense kind of shakes out. They're kind of equal. So whatever. While you see what happens, while you see what shakes out, just for a few days. So,
all right, who do you got for defense this week?
DL, we got a few quick defenses to throw in here. The first one is the Denver Broncos. They are 41% rostered. Okay, it comes to no surprise for anyone, DL, that the Broncos have the number 3 fantasy defense. That's Sean Payton, baby.
Wow.
Going out there killing it. The number 3. They're averaging 10.5 points a week. That's the starter. That's a flex guy. Go out and get them if they're available. They left the Jets game and they dominated the Jets. They look great against the Jets. They made the Jets look old.
Yep.
Made him look really old.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers, he was not happy.
Looked like a regular dude. Looked like a regular 40-year-old out there. Other defense we're going to recommend is the Seattle Seahawks this week. They are rostered in 20% of leagues. Definitely a team that you should go out and get. Monday night's game in Detroit turned into a very, very bad game.
Oh, we didn't even mention that. Like Jared Goff, 18 for 18, broke the NFL record, which was set for 10 for 10. So not only did he break it, but he set, like, it wasn't like, oh, he got 11 for 11. He got 18 out of 18. And even Campbell was like, oh my God, I didn't know he threw a perfect game. I didn't even give him the game ball. So
anyway, well, they didn't look good on Monday night. But if they can get healthier, if they can get their stuff together, they have a really good matchup week 5. Do you know who they play? That's right. Look,
the Giants.
If I'm out there, if you want to be a savvy fantasy GM, go out and get anybody that plays the Giants.
They kind of are like that team, right? They're kind of like
it's like in baseball.
So Malik doesn't like scare you.
Yeah, I mean, but how much is he gonna? What's he gonna do? 100 yards, and what else?
Couple TDs.
I'm not too worried about it, to be honest.
Okay.
Look, like in fantasy baseball, I would stream any pitcher that was facing the White Sox every year, every game, because they were really
pitch.
Well, but like that's the strategy. That's the strategy.
It's true. I give it to you.
Don't be afraid to do it. Last defense we're going to go ahead and recommend here is the Las Vegas Raiders this week. They are 14% rostered. Definitely defenses that are probably available in your leagues. The Raiders defense has been up and down, mostly down, DL, but they have a big opportunity here going up this week. You know who they face this week? Another very bad offense, DL. Who is it?
The Jets?
Nope, the Browns. They play the Browns.
Even worse.
Yeah, exactly. The Vegas defense goes up against a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, who I think he looks okay. He looks okay. I don't think he's looked that great, to be honest. So I could see this being an opportunistic game for the Raiders. If they can try to find a way to create some turnovers, they could probably keep the Broncos to under 20 points. I'm guessing somewhere in the range of 14 to 16 to 17 points, somewhere in that range. So just on that alone, you get some points. Definitely a defense that can, get you 7-8 points this week, I think.
Yeah, Bo Nix is a manager. There's nothing that like stands out to me. I think he just, tries to score and hopes the defense can pick him up. So I agree with that.
Is there anyone that he reminds you of?
I don't want to say it.
Go ahead.
Oh, fuck. What's his name? God damn it. I'm like fucking the guy who used to like kneel. He was on Denver. What's his name? Fuck. I can see his ugly face right now.
He was on Denver?
Yeah, he was on Denver and he beat the Steelers. And he was like, he's a Bible thumper.
Tim Tebow.
Tebow. That's who he reminds me of. Thank you. I'm losing it.
Interesting. I think.
You mean current though?
Just all time. This is gonna sound crazy.
He's a little bit better than Tebow. I'll say that. But go ahead.
He reminds me of Kyle Orton.
What? Don't do that.
Sorry.
Don't do that.
That's where I'm at. I don't know.
Man, there was times where people were like, "You better put Orton in over like Cutler." Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
I wasn't that guy, but that's where I'm at.
It kind of makes sense. A fair comp because they were just kind of managing. They weren't really flashy, but I don't know. I like little Orton. Orton was cool.
Yeah, I think he was all right. I think they're gonna get
Yeah, I get you. Bo
every
Nix
last drop out of him.
he's all right. He ain't awesome, but he doesn't suck that much, I guess.
No, it didn't suck. Well, Colin didn't suck either.
That's true. Anyways, that does our show. Is there anything else that you want to kind of like tell people before they hit that waiver wire or spend
Nope.
their fab?
No, sir. Seeing if we got any questions anywhere else, DL, by chance. I don't see some funny ones, but
it's all right
on Facebook. But no worries. DL.
Yes.
Great show yet again.
Always. That's how we roll,
will be
baby.
back again on Tuesday night next week. If you guys want us to try to do another night, let us know. Remember, guys, phony homies out there, to shoot us your start sit questions during the week. Any questions you have, trade questions, anything at all whatsoever, you can do that on Twitter. DL, where can they send those questions?
At tweet FFG.
Pretty simple, pretty easy. And then use what hashtag, DL?
Ask us FFG.
Pretty easy. And then lastly, if you don't use Twitter, or X, as the young kids are calling it, young whippersnappers, you can send us emails. DL, where can they send those emails?
Ask us FFG at gmail.com.
Easy. Or you can leave a fantasy question at
not just fantasy.
Yeah,
you can ask any kind of question you want. It's just there's no rating. Send pictures, the whole works. You can send it directly to JC, and especially if you screwed up your waiver wire, you can call him at 708-655-4508.
Don't call me. Back and bite me in the ass. I swear to God. What a dumb idea to put my phone number.
Yeah.
But that's it for today's show, phony homies. Thanks to DL for his great fantasy advice. My name is JC. My partner and I will catch you guys on another fantastic episode of the Fake Football Guys. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and smash!